So to start off, my fiance Maria is here.
Hello.
So we had a plan to have her parents over, but I was sent home from work, and we're kind of quarantined right now because my coworker may or may not have COVID. We don't really know yet. So it's just her. With that being said, we're going to discuss communication excellence specifically in the military. So there's a lot of different aspects that lead to communication excellence in the military. Some are the structure that streamlines for the organization. Then we're going to look at nonverbal and verbal communication. Next will be culture, and then we're going to talk a little bit about military leadership and how that plays into communication excellence. And in the military, it's the only organization where communication can very well mean life or death. It carries with that severity. So let's first talk about structure. So in the military, we use a chain of command, right? And I'm sure you've heard of it. It's pretty straightforward, right? So it's a structure where you can trace from the bottom to the top and you know who's in charge of what, so there's no gaps. And that's really important because no matter what kind of issue you have, you can, look on the piece of paper or on the wall or wherever it's depicted, and you can determine who you need to contact for whatever issue you have. And it's also really important because it keeps people accountable. So people know who your boss is at all times. So if you're not doing your job and you're doing it extremely badly, then they can go past you and kind of raise concern. So it keeps people honest. Now look at verbal. So the military has a unique challenge where it has to take people from all over the country, even other countries, and produce a similar product with a basic level of ability to communicate with each other. So how they do that is they structure everything, even the sentences you speak. So if you want to ask a question, you have to ask it in a certain way, and they expect responses to all be similar. There's no leeway. So the individual that you were, you're no longer. You're now this product of the military. And that's really important because now you all have the same level of communication skill and you can communicate with each other. Now, nonverbal, and that can really say a lot more than words ever can in certain circumstances. For instance, body posture and language, can tell someone if you respect them, if you disrespect them, or how you view them. Especially if they're a higher rank, you're expected to do certain things. So my first source was stating that standing with your weight on your back foot and your hands in your pockets communicates an aggressive posture. Anytime you have your hands in your pockets or your arms crossed, it displays a sort of superiority, like you're the one in charge, and that can really come across the wrong way when it's someone of a higher rank. Let's talk about military culture, and it's arguably one of the most important things and one of the most differentiating things that separates the military from any organization. So culture, especially when we look at like a smaller unit, it's either going to have a good culture run by good people or a bad culture, that lets the bad people run wild. And what I mean by that is culture takes a long time to build and it takes the right leaders in charge. And that ties into communication because people need to feel free in their environment that they won't be judged enough to come out and admit mistakes. So in a good culture, you're going to have people immediately confess their mistakes because they don't feel like they're going to be ostracized for it, and you can work at a solution quicker. In bad military cultures, people are very selfish and they don't look out for each other, and this just breeds negativity, and you're not going to communicate clearly. There's going to be issues that are hidden because people don't want to look bad. So former Air Force General Lester Lyles said that the lesson I learned over and over was the importance of working as a team, not for oneself. Now, in the military, you're not judged by the results that you come out with. It's all on your team. And Shelton also says that the individual in the field to the pilot flying, the ability to communicate is extremely important during times of conflict. So you have to be working as a team at all times, and that's the biggest aspect of the culture in the military is teamwork and the ability to communicate openly with each other. Um, yeah. Now, finally, we'll look at leadership, and I like to focus on two different aspects of leadership in the military, which are authoritarian and democratic. Authoritarian is that you think of that classic Marine, you know, he's loud, he yells, barks orders, he's the guy in charge and you know it. And then there's the democratic leader, and the textbook defines them as those who facilitate group discussion and like to take input from all members before making a decision. And the really important aspect in the military is you kind of need people who can differentiate between the two. So you need people who recognize the situation and choose their leadership style off of that. Sometimes you don't have time to make a decision by getting input from all the others. You just have to pick something and stick with it. Other times you might have the resources and the time to be able to just discuss it openly and kind of get the best ideas from everyone. But you need to be able to choose between the two to be the best leader in the military. Now, finally, the military, like I was saying, you know, you have severe consequences for bad communication. So there can be lives on the line, and that's why they hammer down on communication being such an important factor. Now, communication to me isn't just especially human communication, isn't just the messages we send someone through auditory or like physical messages, but it's more so that humans aren't perfect, and it's kind of recognizing that. Especially in the military, you know, there's going to be mistakes made, but it's the fact that you should always be striving for perfection that makes it human communication. So, thank you.